Okay, it's 6:04. My name is Robert Stevenson. I'm going to open the Southwick Talent Granville Regional School District School Committee meeting. Can I get a motion to open the meeting? Second. Can I get, we're gonna have to do a roll call vote because Ryan is remote tonight. Did a vote for to open the meeting? Pam?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
Pat?
Yeah.
John?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
And Rob's a yes. Amy, let the record show the motion passes 7-0-0. Okay, welcome everybody. We have a number of people here tonight. Just to remind everybody, we are, I know one of the items that everybody is anxiously awaiting is the discussion of the mask policy. Just to remind everybody, we currently still have a policy right now for the school that anybody in the school is requested to wear a mask. For the state, that ends on the 28th of February. We are discussing tonight whether we're going to be rescinding our policy. So if you could help follow through with that, I would certainly appreciate it. We are going to do our opening ceremony right now. If I can get everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right now, we're going to take a moment of silence for George LeBlanc. He was a longstanding member of the committee and dedicated countless years of his life to helping out this district here. So if we can just get a moment of silence for Mr. LeBlanc. All right, Secretary's report. We have the minutes from the meeting on February 1st. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second. Any questions on the minutes from the meeting on the 1st? Without any questions, can I get a, we're gonna do a roll call vote to accept the minutes? Pam?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Pat?
Okay.
Erica?
Yes.
Rob? A yes. Amy, show the record is 6-0-1. Okay, next we have warrants. There is a couple of signatures there on contracts and one warrant that needs to be signed. Everybody can take care of that tonight. That'd be great. Correspondence, Superintendent Willard, you're up.
Yes, on February 9th, we received a press release from the Commissioner of Education stating that the state will be dropping the mandate of wearing masks on February 28th. And they're moving it back to local control.
All right. Let me look. I think the doors are open there. Oh, somebody take care of that. Here we go.
Sorry, I'm just.
Don't worry.
Okay, so we will be talking about it tonight and the implications for our school districts, but they are moving it back to local control. So the school committee discuss.
Fantastic. Okay, so we are at our first public comment section. I'm glad to see as many people here tonight. I just want to make sure we go over the ground rules so that everybody understands what we're looking to be able to do. Anybody that would like to make a public comment, if you could just raise your hand, I'll acknowledge it. I'll get you everybody up. I'll acknowledge you to come to the podium. You've got a total of 3 minutes to make your public comment. This is not a time frame where there's going to be interaction sort of back and forth between the committee. It's an opportunity for you as the public to be able to voice your concerns, to let us know what you're thinking about anything that's on your mind that may be coming up tonight. I have a pretty good idea what everybody wants to talk about. I'm going to ask that everybody be respectful. I would want to avoid any sort of interruptions when people are speaking. Give them their 3 minutes. We'll do this for at least 15 minutes. I do have the opportunity as the chair to be able to extend that. I may extend it. If we get to a point, if I did what we did in August, we get to a certain point after 15, 30 minutes, and if there's anybody that has anything different, great. We'll be able to let you to come up, but I think we'll be able to be in good shape tonight. So anybody looking to be able to do public comment, the young lady here in the front in the purple jacket, if you want to come up, just state your name and where you live so that we can enter that into the record. And what will happen when you get to your when you get close to your 3 minutes, Amy's got a little red placard that she's going to raise up just so that it gives you a heads up. And then we'll ask you to wrap up your comments.
Okay. My name is Angela Sainsbury. I live in Granville. I'm here because I realize there's a change of position on masks. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here more concerned about the windows being open and cold days on the bus. I've talked to the Board of Education. I've talked to the Transportation Department. This morning in Granville, it was a low of 6 and it was a high of 18. And there was a wind chill, which made it feel like 0 degrees. I have 4 kids. I have a 5-year-old that I'm putting on the bus with the windows open. According to Desi, it's strongly encouraged to keep the buses open, the windows open, but the verbiage is whenever feasible. I don't see how 10 degrees is feasible. Recently, the transportation was at lower PBAC that the transportation has made that choice that anything under 10 degrees and under is considered now freezing, because then they will close the windows when it's 10 degrees or lower. So my kids are on the bus for an hour, okay? And the windows are open. The bus department is the one that amended it and is the one that has decided that 10 degrees is not freezing. I always thought that 32 degrees was freezing, was it not? When you ride public transportation, PBTA, et cetera, the windows are not open. In fact, the windows are not open this evening. I'm not really sure why, because my kids ride the bus for an hour with the windows open at 5 degrees, 0 degrees, when it was a couple weeks ago, when it was -5, an hour bus ride. I'm not really sure how to handle this. I thought that I went to the proper channels, but nothing's been done. This morning, when it was 6 degrees out, I called transportation and they said that Southwick, it was not below 10 degrees. So then the windows were down. In Granville, there's elevation. It's 10 degrees difference in Granville and Holland. And that goes for kids that don't take public transportation every day. What about the students that are athletes that are trying so hard to do right for the kids, for the schools, and have wrestling and have ski? I mean, they're on that bus for an hour and a half. The ski team is in Charlemont. What's it, an hour and a half a ride that these kids have to endure these conditions? I'm not sure why I'm the only one saying these things. Hopefully you guys all listen to what I have to say and some changes are made, because we're all parents. We all want the best for our kids. I don't understand why Lower Pioneer Valley determines what's feasible and what's not, and 10 degrees is sufficient. It just doesn't seem like it's feasible. So in closing, I just want to say that when you guys leave tonight, probably to roll down your windows and drive home and see what our kids are experiencing every single morning when they're on the bus and it's cold, because nobody's putting the bus's windows up. Thank you.
Thank you.
For listening to me. Appreciate it.
Anybody else have a, yes, ma'am, right in the front.
We go together?
No,
You got 3 minutes.
Okay.
You can divide it however you would like to do it.
All right, regarding the masks, enough is enough.
Oh, sir. you can-
Zach Barnett, the Logie Lane Suffolk Nets.
Can you say it again?
Zach Barnett.
Okay.
Right.
Masks have proven little to no effect in preventing or spreading diseases, especially those cute little cloth-based diapers that most of our kids are wearing. Even medical grade masks were never intended to be worn at great lengths of time. 2 years of this craziness has proven this, and it's time to put an end to the madness. Masks in turn are actually causing harm. They keep warmth and moisture loving germs and viruses extremely close to your mouth, nose, and eyes, where they are easily introduced to your body. Masks are also causing severe and long-term negative psychological effects in the development of our children. Their identities are being taken away and they barely know what their friends and classmates look like. These negative impacts will be seen for many years to come. A very recent study done by Johns Hopkins University found that no evidence of lockdowns, school closures, border closures, and limiting gatherings have had a noticeable effect on COVID-19 mortality, and that there have actually been devastating effects. There's more to it, and I have sources to back these up. States with lockdowns and mandates were no better off than states that let people choose how to manage their own health. Simply saying that we need to follow the CDC guidelines and trust the science is not enough. It has been decredited. They keep backpedaling on their science. It just doesn't make sense anymore. It's time to move on from these silly requirements. Enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir, in the back.
Hi, Bill Frazier, Southwick, Mass, 100 Congamon Road. It is about the masks. Just real quick, I left a couple of USB drives for committee members to do on their own time. Maybe it'll help you with your decision that you gotta make tonight. I understand, but it's a tough one. People, pros and cons. I worked as a fire captain here in town for 26 years. I taught in this very school system, public fire and life safety. In that time, I worked in hazmat operations. And so I have a little experience in masks. I taught 100 firefighters a year. The use of masks, from these to little masks to respirators to SCBA. So I taught them how to use them and what they were for. The masks that we wear every day do nothing to stop the spread of a virus or from contracting it. With that being said, on January 19th this year, I provided 36 pages of evidence to the town of Westfield and led to the rescinding of the town of Westfield mask mandate. It took me over 3 months to get that information together. In addition to that, I contacted 25 manufacturers recently of every type of mask available on the market, including children's masks. And every single one of them has said that they don't work. Masks, in my opinion, are a political tool and a control device for the public and for our kids. Not the saying that this board, this committee has taken that position. Viral transmission of COVID or any illness happens 21% by aerial transmission, 51% by touching non-porous objects. The rest of it's done by oral, fecal, and injection. In addition to that, I understand the concern of a lot of teachers and parents that want their kids still masked and want mandates to continue. And I understand that they fear for the safety of their kids, but they're uneducated. And if I brought numerous USB drives, same ones that you have, that have all that information on there, it will prove to you that these are harming your kids and harming yourselves instead of making them better. If we can't question science, then it's not science. Okay. With that, science justifies its results to me, then I'll accept the science. Kids having the same natural born rights as you and I do here. They have those rights here in school. They have those rights outside of school as well. The parents should be the decision makers, irregardless of anything of how their kids are taken care of and to the care of their kids. Of the 60 million school-age children nationwide, only 900 died since this pandemic began. Those numbers are being questioned, and the causes of those numbers are being questioned as we speak. Most school-age kids who test positive don't have symptoms. Most school-age kids that tested positive don't spread the virus and don't get sick. Lastly, the FDA actually removed the emergency use authorization. Almost one more paragraph. They removed the EUA for masks worldwide. You didn't know this. They did this in July of last year. The only mask that's recommended now is the N95 mask, and I have the evidence on that USB drive. That doesn't work either. So, unless people can prove that these masks work, I asked the school board to seriously, or school committee to seriously consider removing mask mandate on the children of this town. And maybe even view case law in 1905 for the U.S. Supreme Court ruling that stated that, if you can't reasonably justify something, you can't. So I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Oh, yes, ma'am, on the right.
Jill Wickler, 160 Point Grove Road. Good evening. My name is Jill. I live at 160 Point Grove Road in Southwick. I have been a resident in town for over 6 years. I have a child in the school district for the past 9 years, and I work in this school the last 4 years. I'm here to voice my opposition with the moving forward of any mask or vaccine requirements that this school wants to impose on any student or staff member. Being an American means being free to choose what is best for ourselves and our children. Pro-choice does not mean anti-vax or anti-mask. It means just that. I support your right to choose what is best for you. I'm worried that if our committee decides to vote no masks, they will favor those with a vaccinated status and allow them to be mask-free, leaving our unvaccinated population left complying with an unfair mandate that should no longer apply to them. If this committee segregates vaxxed and unvaxxed to unmasked and masked, it'd be a huge mistake. Many families who choose not to vaccinate either don't feel comfortable getting their vaccines with their children, or simply don't believe it's necessary to do so with a 99% survival rate. I believe where there is a risk, there should be a choice, respectfully. We all have the right to ask questions. We all have the right to choose, and we all have the right to be included. I respect anyone's right and choice to get vaccinated or wear a mask, as they should respect mine not to. According to our Southwick Town Granville Regional School District Handbook, the Southwick Town Regional School District does not discriminate or allow discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, religion, and or handicap or disability in any of its activities. This policy also ensures that students and staff should be free from retaliatory action and or harassment based upon any of the foregoing attributes. Page 99. As a reminder, my name is Jill Winkler. I work here at Powder Mill School and I love my job. My son attends the regional school in town and he loves going there every day. I ask the committee to please vote for pro-choice, no mask mandate, equal rights for all students and staff, regardless of vaccination status. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Ashley Barnett, 8 Lovey Lane, Southwick. Our son is 5 and he's in kindergarten. This year is his first year in public school. I'm here to ask for the requirement for masks to be dropped. I firmly believe that our kids should not be required to wear a face mask. Our son is 5. His first glimpse into the world without mom and dad by his side are masked adults and peers. People with masks on ultimately have no face. When he should be learning about social interactions and how much your face can change something when you're saying it, he's just not getting it. Nobody is. When I asked my son what was one thing that he didn't mind about wearing a mask, he replied, taking it off. When I asked what he doesn't like about masks, he replied that he has to wear it. We've been considering homeschooling since the beginning of the year because of this requirement to wear a mask all day. At this point, if it's voted to keep masks as a requirement to learn in school, but the state is not requiring it, we may just have to make the ultimate decision for our family. It's just the principle of it. These last 2 years have been crazy. There's no denying that. And we can't take back what's been done already, but we can move forward and do the right thing. It's just time to unmask our kids.
Thank you. Yes, sir, in the back.
My name is Ashley Rose and I'm Good evening. My name is Ashley Rose and I'm an 8th grade student at SRS. I'm here to advocate for the continuation of the face covering protocol that is currently in place at STGRSD. Positive impacts that face coverings have on students are protecting against respiratory illnesses, including the following, but not limited to the flu, the common cold, and COVID. Masks have and continue to protect others in the transmissibility of illnesses to create a safe and healthy learning environment. As present in Southwick Regional School, core values and beliefs about learning, quote, provide a safe environment fostering a culture of civility, creativity, and respect for diversity, end quote. Nonetheless, I ask, does removing the mask policy still create a safe environment? If you're unsure, I urge you to consider. STGRSD's face covering policy first came to be due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Similarly, case numbers as of 2/9/22 are around levels seen last January, where in fact, we still had a face covering policy. Additionally, the dominant strain today is Omicron, which is even more transmissible versus last January. Not only then, but still today, masks protect students and staff. As you may know, this includes immunocompromised students and pregnant teachers. Protecting all students, but especially the ones that are at the most risk, is your job. In addition to students, staff can also be affected, but specifically pregnant teachers. And in small studies, they have found that COVID-19 can cause premature birth. As I look around this evening, I'm surrounded by familiar and unfamiliar faces. However, I do know that most people here are parents, and they all share one trait in common: protecting their young. No matter what the situation is, parents have this very instinct. The matter of the mask policy is no different. So I call upon all the board members here in front of me to use the power that you hold to protect students and staff at your home. Based on the evidence provided, I ask that you act and keep the mask mandate and ensure a safe environment of which all students and staff have a fundamental right to. Thank you, Vice Chairwoman and board members, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Megan Levitt, South Lanier Road. Hey, I don't have a long speech or anything, but I just wanted to say that I just want to piggyback off Joe, where I agree with taking masks away. I mean, my kids are going to after school sports, they're going to the grocery store, they're having play dates with their friends that they're in school with, all without a mask. So they're spending time in school with a mask, yet outside of school, they're all spending time together with no masks on. I mean, we go to soccer, we don't have a mask, we go to hockey, we don't have a mask. So it's just, they're spending a lot of time together without masks. So at this point, it doesn't make sense to have a mask all day at school. So that was my little 2 cents. So I didn't think to take the mask off.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Riley.
Kate September at 402 Random. So this is regarding masks as well. So I have a kindergartner and I have an 8th grader, and both of them have been concerned all year. My 8th grader was concerned coming back to school regarding the whole situation with COVID and everything. He has some immune, he's not immunocompromised, but he has immune system issues. His younger brother, who is unable to get vaccinated, has immune system issues. His father has immune system issues. We're all, we haven't gone we've gone 1 week since school started this year without any COVID related issues at any of the schools. Every week, aside from one, there has been COVID issues at school. While there are studies that, yes, say that masks don't work at preventing anything, it does. There are plenty of studies that counter those points, that if both parties are sick and are speaking, both of them are less likely to transmit or receive COVID if one of them has. It prevents other illnesses. It prevents a lot of issues, and you're not going to be bringing it home. If you choose not to have a mask on when you're going out, you're bringing whatever you get at these other locations back to the school. And if you're bringing, we could have had way more cases than we have any other week when we came back from Christmas. Every single school was double digits for how many kids were sick with COVID that was possibly transmitting. And the masks were probably what kept it from being into the triple digits. We have a very small community, but we could have been done with mask mandate a long time ago if we had more vaccination. Vaccinations have been proven to help reduce the risk of transmission. And I understand people have the right to choose what's best for their children. But when we remove the mask mandate, you are then deciding that your child's right to have a choice is more important than other people's right to have a choice. Because when you're dealing with a pandemic, when you're dealing with an airborne illness, you're removing somebody else's rights by deciding, I don't have to care that you get sick. That's essentially what this removal of mask mandate is doing, is saying that children that decide they want to continue wearing a mask because they want to protect others are showing an empathy that you are deciding you don't need to show. And I think the mask mandate needs to stay if nobody can show the empathy towards another person. That's all I really want to say.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Jennifer Weaver, Miller Road, Southwick. Kids have been getting sick since the dawn of day. I mean, the masks have to go. Kids don't get to see other kids smile, especially the younger. I mean, mine's in 10th grade. He socializes outside. He has sleepovers. It's time to let these kids be kids. COVID, the numbers have gone down. I get the email every week. The numbers are down. It's time for the masks to go. It has nothing to do with saying, I don't care about your kid. My kid has an is compromised. He's ready to get rid of the mask and live his life. You can't live in fear. Kids get sick. We haven't lost anybody in Southwick to COVID. It's time to let these kids be kids.
Thank you. All right, I think that was the last hand. Thank you. Oh, one more. Anybody else? All right. Oh.
To me, this is very serious, and I was looking forward to this evening. I just wanted to let you know that my kids, they told me the beginning of this last school year, they told me, we do not want to go to school because of masks. And I literally make them go to school because they have to go to school. Last year, I had a chance to homeschool them, but it's very difficult to homeschool. They want to be with friends, they want to see their teachers, they miss everyone in school. And now I told them that finally there's some laws changes and you guys can go without masks. And when I heard that we're still deciding about this, I was very frustrated because if I'm gonna tell them the mask still takes place and they still have to wear masks, they will tell me, we don't wanna go to school. And I told them, I mean, I went to school as well, but they're like, you never went to school with masks. And I agree. I don't know what going to school with masks every single day, not seeing teachers smile, not seeing, their friends. It's just different world. And that's why there's a lot of homicide kids, they don't want to live because of that. And I think you have to take this serious. And I don't see point of masks because they throw them on the floor, it's dirty, they put them on their face. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. All right, and I think you might be done. Thank you, everybody.
Ukraine, Southern STGRSD. Ukraine, Southern STGRSD. It's about time to unmask our children. According to the medical literature, the masks are not effective to protect the children's health. Instead, as a parents, we go through battle to make sure they clean and wear masks so they can go to school. My children don't like to wear masks because they can't breathe, especially for those that wear glasses. They distract their learning ability. They only comply because they want to learn and go to school. If they don't wear a mask, they get in trouble. This is not right to take away their freedom. That's child abuse, and our children are supposed to breathe freely for their emotional and physical state. Please unmask our children. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so that's the end of our first public comment. Thank you, everybody, for being respectful of everybody while they're up speaking. I really appreciate that. All right, on to. We got the follow. So we got our student advisory report.
Good evening. So up at the ICE High School, we just have a couple fundraisers, the Cocoa for a Cause and the Interact Club's Penny Wars. This week is full of winter sports senior nights. Tonight is boys basketball, tomorrow is girls basketball, and boys hockey is Saturday. And over the weekend, the wrestling team competed in Western Mass, and in their respective weight classes, Evan Cruz and Seth Doe placed second. Aaron Ketchy placed fifth. Nick Seacan-Ford, Isaiah Woodfish, and Lucas Thorpe. And the Students Against Destructive Decisions, or SAG Club, is designing billboards for the Stop the Swear competition at the school. And Mrs. Coviello received the NHS Staff Appreciation Award, and Student Council surprised the guidance office with a thank you poster and bagels for National School Counseling Week. And today, the Groom Spoon Teacher of the Year Award was given to Ms. Shannon Dion, and the SRS band did a great job playing throughout the halls to Christmas award. That's all I have today.
Thank you. All right, let's see, educational presentation, Mr. Trammell. And Ms. Short.
Yeah, thank you for having us tonight. I'm going to turn the presentation over to Ms. Shorter, who did a lot of the legwork in getting the program of studies prepared for the 2022-2023 school year. Once again, our department heads, our school council, and our administration did a wonderful job in looking at the programs that we have to offer our students, the courses that we have to offer our students. And I think Ms. Shorter will once again present a comprehensive program of studies that meets the needs of all of our students.
So I think you all have on the top of your program, it's just a listing, like if you were to go through it page by page to kind of see where some of the changes are. Some are more significant than others, but the first grouping of changes are really some updates. We went through and we updated everywhere in the program where it says foreign language, we updated it to world language. World language is the accepted term. It has been for quite a while, so I was a little surprised to see that foreign language is still there. So we went through the entire program and hopefully we didn't miss any. To be in alignment with that, on page 6, we also updated the term foreign study to international study to be in alignment with that thinking around world language. Some other updates, go without saying, page 43 and 46, we updated the clubs listing. So there's a magic club now, there's a sign language club now. We added those things in. We also updated the staff listing to reflect our current staffing. On page 13 through 15, if you look, what we did is we removed some old descriptions of the programs. For example, we don't really offer a business track or a business program. And so we just changed the heading for those course listings to business and finance courses. And then we distinguished between informational technology and manufacturing technology courses. So the difference between your wood shop and your computer courses to make that more clear for students. But those are all within what we call the technology department in applied arts. So we just clarified that in the program. The other sort of update is on page 7 where we talk about final exams. As you're already aware, during COVID, we've done different things with final exams. And again, this January, we did not do traditional final exams. So we are putting together a committee this spring to review what we want to do in the future. And so what we're looking to do is put an amendment page in the program of studies later this year. So students will get that they'll know going into the school year what final exams are going to look like. So those are sort of the simple changes. Some course additions. We've added an AP Advanced Placement Statistics course into math department. What that provides is an option, another advanced placement option instead of calculus. Calculus is very specific. Statistics, if you're going into the sciences, math and science, you definitely want AP calculus. But if you're going into the humanities or research, AP statistics gives you that option. So we're happy and excited to be able to have that added to our program. In the art program, the department has been looking at trends in course enrollment. So the numbers of students taking certain courses, as well as what student interests are. And those things sort of go in tandem. The other thing, looking at the numbers of students who take an introductory level elective, but then don't pursue advanced levels of the elective. They might hop from introductory to introductory to introductory. And so we were looking at ways to encourage students to follow through with something, to challenge themselves at the next level. So part of that, so these next couple shifts are kind of all in alignment with that thinking. So the graphic design and illustration course has been enrolling 2 to 5 students at a time. And so we decided that we would like to remove that from the program and replace it with an animation course, which we know has huge interest based on some extracurricular and elective things we've done with middle school students. We know that them moving forward have a significant interest. Members of the high school department also anticipate that this course will enroll heavily. And so after students take an introductory course, if they want to go to a next level, they have the option of taking an animation course. And then if you can read the course description with the units of study, that would be part of that. It would be a traditional course, hands-on with a digital component, and it has the option to grow more into the digital or remain traditional hands-on paper, depending what the interest of students is. So the next layer of this is the portfolio prep course, also under enrolled, 2 students a year, 1 student a year, very advanced. And the course description for that and advanced art traditionally talk very heavily about if you're college bound. And so what we want to do is reduce or eliminate the idea that in order to pursue an art course at an advanced level, that you have to be college bound. So to encourage students to do it for the enjoyment or the creativity or explore if that is something they want to do. So what we've done is we've eliminated portfolio prep as it historically is and embedded components of it into advanced art, rewritten advanced art to make it more accessible to all students, and create the option that if you do want portfolio preparation, you could take advanced art twice. So you could take it the first time as an advanced art class to build your skills and do things at an advanced level. And then if you were interested in developing a portfolio, you could take it a second time with advanced students. So you're creating kind of a community and focus just on creating your artworks for a portfolio. So those things do go very well together. It is a way other schools do address this kind of issue as well. So we feel that that will be a positive thing. As well, students in an advanced art class would also have the opportunity to see students who are working on a portfolio. And that sort of exchange kind of creates this idea that, oh, it is possible. So we had, and you may have heard in the report from Pam from ILT that we had discussed the option of introducing a painting course. We're going to hold off on that for the time being, looking at some of the other changes. We want to see where that goes, and we might move forward with that in a year or so, but for the moment, we thought this was enough for 1 year. So the next body of changes or things that we're looking at, or we've looked at, this fall, we invited our teachers to review honors courses, and we sent back to all teachers in their departments to talk about what honors courses look like, what the enrollment is, how they're scheduled, and consider how many levels of a course we're offering. We are a small school, and in some instances, we're offering 3 levels of a single course. And so we put that to the departments, and they discussed it. And then they came back to, the department heads came back to our department head team. We had another discussion about it. And then Mr. Trammell brought it forward to the school council, which is parents, students, teachers are all represented on that committee, that council, to talk about some of our honors courses. And the result of that, 2 sort of categories that we're looking at. So the first set of changes that emerged were that there are some courses that have an honors designation that are no longer actually honors courses. So at some point in time, the honors became part of it and no one's revisited it for a very long time. For example, computer programming, technology has advanced. At one time, working on the computer was a very select skill set, and now our computer programming course, we've had to bump it down to middle school because kids know so much already. So the computer programming course that stands in high school is really an entry-level course. It's not an honors level. And so that department decided to remove that designation Band and chorus, Mr. Quinn recognized that just staying in band for 4 years, like the level 4 just had an H designation, but he said it's not really an honors course, it's just taking band for a 4th year. So band and chorus, that would be the rationale for that removal. Similarly, French and Spanish was the same idea. At this point in time, if your child is going to college or looking to get into state college, they're going to need 3 years of a language. So making the level 3 automatically honors, it doesn't really make sense. It's a sequence, it's a continuation. And so 1, 2, and 3 would be the sequence, and then students who pursue at 4, 5, or AP, that's where your honors designation will come in. So that's sort of the first category and the rationale around making those changes. So the bigger discussion came around areas where we have in a single course where we're offering 3 levels. And so, for example, I'm going to use English as the example, 11 and 12, what I'm going to talk about. We have college prep, we have honors, and we have advanced placement. And what happens is we get a huge imbalance in where students are enrolled. So we've got about 60 students who are enrolled in honors. That creates 2 sections of college prep. And we have 4 students in AP. So you have the majority of a class of a grade level in honors course, in the honors level course. So what that means is the CP level ends up being a lot of special ed students, or it ends up being our CTEC students, and it becomes very difficult to be in compliance around things. It creates sort of this very level situation that isn't really great for any students. So we started talking about also the other consequence on the other end is we have this AP program. We just spent several years with Mass Insight trying to build our program and make our teachers better. And yet, why don't we have more students enrolling in AP? They're staying in honors rather than challenging themselves to take the advanced placement. So what we decided we'd like to do is in an area where there's AP, we want to have English 11 or AP. So if you want to challenge yourself, you will enroll in AP. If you don't want to challenge yourself at that level, you will take English 11. And the English 11 course description has been rewritten to reflect that it is a rigorous English 11 course. So it's not one or the other of the levels that already existed. It's a rethought course with this model in mind. So we're looking at that, or we put that in for English 11 and 12, because those have AP options, and chemistry and biology, where the similar situation plays out. And the teachers in those content areas were in support of, or are in support of this move. One of the questions that came up, or particularly in school council that we discussed, is what the impact on college admission might be around this. And the truth is, and we did speak to admissions counselors, we do that actually pretty regularly when we're making decisions around programming. And the truth is that colleges assess students in the context of their school. So they have a profile for all the high schools and they know what courses you offer. So if you're a super small school that doesn't offer AP, then the college is going to assess your candidacy in that context. If you are a school that does have AP, colleges are looking for that you have taken the highest level available at your school to challenge. So our students taking honors English when we have an AP option, they're actually not doing themselves a favor. Because the college knows that there's an AP option, and that would be the question coming from the college. Which doesn't mean that taking honors is bad. It just means if you're thinking about, I want to impress the college with the most challenging courses at my school, they are aware that honors, every school does things differently. So the word honors doesn't necessarily mean you challenge yourself. They're not saying. So that is what we have. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, on that last
Sure.
part,
Sure.
so right now, the grading system benefits the kids that take honors and AP classes by adding an extra factor to that. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so by eliminating an honors level class, you're gonna put them back, that class is now being restructured as a college prep class.
Yeah.
Okay, so has that been looked at as well? Because obviously I would think that the kids that are I mean, I remember when I was in school, I did really well in sciences, but not in English. So we didn't have AP classes where I went to school in Canada, but there were level 1 classes. The ones that I could do well in, I took those. Do you think that by saying, hey, look, the 3 levels, let's just get rid of them because the numbers don't look right? Is there detriment to that? By eliminating that level where somebody might not want to take that AP class, but if they want something that's a little bit more challenging than regular English, isn't that why the 3 levels are there?
That's probably why the 3 levels were started, sure. But the 3 levels are having an adverse effect on the enrollment in our courses. It is creating an imbalance, and it is creating an enrollment at the college prep level that we're borderline being out of compliance.
So, okay, so help me out with that. We've got kids that are choosing not to pick college prep level English, they're choosing to pick honors level English, and that creates a problem for us?
Yes.
How? I mean, to me, that's great, because you've got kids that are challenging themselves and that are going above a college prep class.
Because now what it's doing is the enrollment at the college prep level where we have in the subject areas where we have 3 levels.
Yeah.
It is students that are primarily on IEPs.
Okay.
And if a class has more than 50% of the students on IEPs, we are out of compliance.
Makes sense. Okay.
And so we are borderlining, we're on the borderline of that. What also doesn't help our schedule is we have a healthy number of students that enroll in our CTEC program over at the Collaborative.
Yeah.
Where 9th and 11th graders attend in the morning, our 10th and 12th graders attend in the afternoon. So those students only have 2 classes here at SRS.
So less options.
So less options there as well.
Okay.
So the idea for students at both levels to benefit from one another, we've created
I
this.
get it.
Yeah.
It's just, so in the long run, is it going to be beneficial for us? Like you said, you talked to the colleges. Do they really care if they're in honors or AP? I mean, is that?
Do they? Yes, they care. If you're in an AP class and you're challenging yourself to the highest level,
Right.
and if we have an honors class that happens to be the highest level, then they take that into consideration.
But it sounds like
As
we're
well.
going to be moving away from that and we're having CP classes and just AP. There's
Not
in the
in
middle.
some subject areas. We won't be able to do that in all subject areas.
But the ones with 3,
The ones with 3.
Chem, bio.
We're not
Yes.
looking at
English.
social studies right now. We're only
Okay.
looking at the sciences and English.
Right. And it wouldn't happen in math either.
Okay.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but we're also only looking at it at grades 11 and 12. We're not looking
Correct.
at that at grades 9 and 10. So grades 9 and 10, the honors still remains because
Correct.
there isn't the AP option.
Yeah, there's only one, right, Mr.
There's
Trevor?
one
There's one.
in 10th grade,
Yes.
correct?
But that's social studies.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so right now, we're just looking at.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. And Mr. Stevens, where I thought you were going maybe with your question around the honors and the AP and the weighted
Yeah.
grades. I mean, what we've learned in this process as well, and it's probably an additional conversation that we'll have in the future with our counselors, is what colleges are looking for is on the transcript is reporting grades in the most simplest form. They want the raw scores.
Yeah.
If you earned an 85 in that class, they want the 85. They do not want the 85 plus the 5% weight plus the 1% because you enrolled early and the 2% because you got a 4 on your AP. Because what they do is they end up stripping that down to.
Well, that
their
was
number.
one of the way, because that was going to be my follow-up on it. like I said, when this was a while ago, right, when I went, but there were no add-on percentages. If you wanted to take the level 1 or the AP, that's what you took. Do you think that, because I have a feeling there are kids out there that are putting themselves potentially into higher classes because of that percentage improvement that they think they're gonna get because they're challenged. They don't necessarily really want to be in that class, but they're like, hey, if I'm gonna get a percentage up, and it's gonna help me on my class rank, and to me, that's the wrong reason to go into that class. So,
So are we looking at considering changing the weighting in the future?
I don't know if we would change the weighting for, no, I think we would want to keep the weighting for class rank. For honor roll, I think those are important areas to distinguish that students challenge themselves. But I think on report cards and transcripts, the weighting is not necessary.
but it's only reflected in the cumulative GPA, right?
Yeah.
So the ranking's not on the report card.
No.
No.
Last question I have for you, Mr. Pescatelli may actually thank me after I saw a list on all your extracurriculars.
Yeah.
Connections isn't there. Is that not an extracurricular?
It is.
I know.
I don't have really good reasons why it is.
No, I'm just wondering, like, I mean,
I don't, yeah.
Kind of an info
Yeah.
thing this year.
Yeah,
was.
connections, yeah, so currently, and it's,
So
that said, it should and could be in that list. I think it was people we put it out and said, what are your updates? And
it could be. I just noticed it and we
Yeah.
just and then right flight, I know, because we talked about that's not on the list either. That probably should be on there too, right?
Yep.
But I'm not gonna deduct any points from it. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on to policies. So first one up is we have our revised tobacco policy. JICG. This is the first reading tonight. As you can see on there, we've had to X out some areas that were requested to be pulled out because of the monetary fine posed by the police department. Did you know you had a monetary fine that you guys would impose?
It goes right in my pocket.
Okay, good. I just want to remind you that this meeting is being recorded. Any questions on the tobacco policy? All right, look at that. One down. Okay, BB1, organization revised. This was an adjustment we looked through and had to adjust the school committee section, some of the downside of who reported to who. Any other changes on this, Amy?
no, not
So we're just kind of catching up after, let's see, 14 years. We're doing an update on it. Anybody got any questions on this?
No.
Ted, any questions? You good? All right, dress code. This one has gone through quite of a little reduction in size, right, Superintendent?
Yes, it has.
We've tried to go through this. You okay with this one, Marissa? We're
Yeah,
good?
I'm just clarifying.
You can, this is the time to bring up
Is this
any
about the-
changes.
about the
Hats, this is the hats.
Okay.
We've
All right.
cleared this up where it gives you a little bit more options. Any questions on dress code?
So actually, I do, and it's just my memory. So I remember at policy stuff, we had this like big giant long list
Right.
of things that were okay and things that weren't okay. And then like, I remember we were in the process of weeding through them.
Yeah, we weeded.
We sure
It
did.
went to legal and legal came back, correct me if I'm wrong,
2 or 3
Superintendent.
times.
It came back from legal that their recommendation was to go with MASC's policy, which was extremely generic and just made it much cleaner with respect to not being discriminatory towards anyone in the school. Is that a fair way of saying that?
So this basically, this essentially creates absolutely no dress code whatsoever. I mean,
Yeah, that's my,
and-
this is a lot, this is a lot different from the one in the handbook.
So like, right, I mean, like, we're going from my opinion to overkill to completely nothing. Okay, and
You're
I
on the
mean,
policy committee, aren't you?
I am, and like, I have to say that, you know, like, this isn't what left policy is it's going to the lawyer. So, I mean, I'm just putting this out there that, you know, I need to think on this one a little bit more.
Well, this is only first reading, and we have a policy committee meeting tomorrow, and I'm sure we can probably.
And
discuss it.
I would ask that committee think about this a little bit more. I mean, it's a huge change to go from overkill to nothing.
I need to see their.
I can add on to that. We did come up with one where we were gonna put language in that's gonna be in the handbook policies. We kept sending a couple revisions back to legal, and based on our attorney's advice, he said, I would go with exactly what Mass has.
Now,
Numerous
do
times.
we have something in addition to this in student handbooks? Because I remember that we talked about that, and we talked about like what might be considered acceptable at the 3 different schools, and that there might be something at the 3 different schools in their handbooks. Do we have that? Are we keeping that?
So we have the right to determine how the student will dress, providing the attire is not disruptive to school property, complies with requirements for health and safety, and does not cause disorder or disruption. And the administration is authorized to take action in instances where individual dress does not meet the stated requirements.
So as long as it doesn't break something off the wall or
is not appropriate for school.
So Lady Gaga may have an issue in her school, but nobody else.
Can we bring back?
And I guess nowhere are we spelling out what is or isn't appropriate.
Correct, she does not want us to.
So that is left up to
Parents.
parents
And
and
their
administration
students.
with regard
If there's
to,
a disruption.
okay.
Again, we've got a couple more times to go over this, and
I know it might be hard, but if it's possible to bring back some of the differences in what we think it's, what you intend it to allow.
We can send the emails that we sent to him.
Yeah, we have the original.
Yeah. Oh, okay, it is there. Oh. Well, usually when we have these things, we either have to rescind it and then put this back in, or we have a red line version of what's changed. This is like a total
It's
change,
completely
right?
different.
Right.
so what we can do, if you want, maybe next meeting, we can have a copy of what was.
Yeah,
So that you-
point. It was from.
So that way you can see what
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
and then what the new nicer version is.
Yeah,
And we can,
yeah.
Mhm.
And I probably don't have any problems with it, but I'm just curious what.
It just caught me by surprise.
No,
That's all.
I saw it on the weekend. I'm like, oh, okay, that's right. I heard about this. All right, anybody got any questions on this?
No.
Okay. All right. That's it. That's all we've got tonight. No, not. All right, so last one, face coverings. So what came up just before the meeting started is that our plan tonight, and we can still do that if we need to, or we can adjust on the fly. MASC has updated their face coverings policy, which is what we put in place after we decided before school. The vote of the committee was, well, we had to put it in after the state issued the mask mandate.
Right.
What we had decided as a committee was to follow DESI's guidelines. The state put in the mask mandate. Then MASC came up with a face covering policy that we implemented and approved because we needed to have something. Obviously, the question tonight is, what is based on there is rescinding the face coverings policy. MASC's come up with an update on that, and were you able to pull it, Amy, or not? Okay, all right, so what I'm gonna do, it's not that long. MASC has adjusted their face coverings policy to address the termination of the mandate from the state, because there are, as even the governor and the commissioner indicated last week, there are going to be instances where kids are still going to need to wear masks. If somebody is diagnosed with COVID is at home, does the 5 days of quarantine, they're allowed to come back to school. They would need to still wear a mask for the additional 5 days while they're finishing up their quarantine, 5 or 10. 5 days, 10 days in total, man.
Okay.
5 at home, 5 at school. So there are still going to be instances where they will need to wear a mask, but it does sort of clear it out to where it becomes an optional decision for parents to have on their children. So it says the district is committed to providing a safe environment in schools during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Maintaining a safe environment is critical to the district's ability to ensure students remain in a full-time classroom learning environment. According to public health experts, one of the best ways to stop the spread of coronavirus and to keep members of our school community safe is the use of face masks or face coverings. Therefore, in accordance with the guidance and recommendation from the Centers for Disease Control, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, the following requirements are in place until further notice. A face covering that covers the nose and mouth is strongly recommended to be worn by individuals who remain unvaccinated or are otherwise immunocompromised in school buildings and on school grounds, even when social distancing is observed. Individuals who are vaccinated are not required to wear a mask, but may do so if desired. Students and staff returning from a 5-day quarantine following a positive COVID test must follow strict mask use other than when eating, drinking, or outside, and conduct active monitoring for symptoms throughout day 10 of exposure. Masks will be required in all school health offices by federal health order. By federal public health order, all students and staff are required to wear a mask on school buses. And then it gives the references there on MASC. So this we could rescind the policy as is written, as we've got in there tonight. That would then probably require us to have some sort of mask policy pertaining to people that are coming back from COVID. If we adjust this, which we certainly can, and we can waive 3 readings, because the problem we're going to run into is a timing issue. If we waive the 3 readings and we amend the policy tonight to the updated MASC policy, what that will allow us to do is basically achieve both things at the same time. It will, in effect, the way that this is written, it's strongly recommending that people wear masks. If they choose not to do so, that is their choice. It's an option. Parents will basically be allowed an option as to whether their kids are going to wear masks at school. Anybody that's unvaccinated or vaccinated, it says if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear the mask. If you're unvaccinated, they're recommending. It's not a mandate. It's not an issuance that says you need to do this. It does specifically indicate if somebody is coming back from being COVID positive, that they would need to wear a mask for the 5 days after their 5-day quarantine while they're in school. Just like all doctors' offices and everything right now, it does indicate that when they're at the school health offices, they would need to wear a mask.
Say also the buses.
Now, the bus, just to clarify, because that has come up and we will, we're going to talk about this in something on the windows. But that is a federal mandate, okay? How that is interpreted and how that's done by, and we lose a little bit of control here now because our buses are now done by LPVAC and not our own. But that's in there because at this point, it is still a federal mandate that they have to wear the masks on the buses. Hopefully that will be adjusted and looked at here relatively shortly, but we want to talk about this. I mean, from my perspective, this seems like a reasonable option for us to do tonight. Instead of rescinding, then we'd have to go to subcommittee, then bring it back, waive the 3 readings, and we don't have another meeting before this thing goes into effect on the 28th.
I'm for amending.
You okay with that?
Yes.
Superintendent, is there any issues with us doing it this way?
No, I would just move to revise policy
Okay.
PDCFA.
All right. Okay, anybody have any questions, comments about this face covering policy? We had a lot of people come in tonight, which I really am glad they came.
I had a couple of questions, not specifically with regard to this policy, but just related to the issue. One, I know that a concern that has been brought up by people is the timing with regard to the possible change in policy coinciding with after vacation. And so maybe Superintendent Willard, you could speak to that.
Actually, I was gonna do it, in my superintendent's report, but I will do it now. So one of the things I want to let everybody in the school community and everybody at home know, we are going to be sending home. We were able to get testing kits from the Hillside Community Center, and we have a test kit for every single one of our students who is going home with our students this Thursday. So every student is going to be getting a COVID test going home. I'm going to just, think that we already took a vote that we were going to go with DESI's guidance earlier in August. So I'm assuming that's still the direction that we're going to be going with as a school committee. And with that said, we really need to be a community in this. If we want to keep the masks off, then we have to really do best practice. And best practice is we're going to ask everybody to test their kids and their staff members Sunday night before they come back to school after vacation. And if one of the children is COVID positive, we ask that they keep them home. We're giving everybody a test. I mean, this is a trial run. We're taking the masks off. And in order for this to work, we need to do this together. So we are sending home test kits. We are also going to be resending out the opt-in form where we will send home a test kit for every staff member and for every student. Every other week, they'll get a kit with two kits and two tests in it. And we ask them on Sunday nights before they come back in that they test their children at home. This is only going to work if we do this together. So we are putting some additional mitigation strategies in place by sending home these test kits. We're going to be doing symptomatic testing here at school, but we are really urging everybody that if the masks come off, we have to be much more we've really got to be doing what's right for everybody. Because we know we have people here who are immunocompromised, we heard people talk about, we have to make sure that when we send our children to school, that we know that they've taken their test on Sunday night and they're coming in COVID negative. So again, I urge us to go back to our community values, operate as a community, think about the empathy for the other people around us, and this is all about compromise. So if we want to take the masks off, test your kids on Sunday night, and we'll keep COVID out of the schools. That is where we are.
And I'd like to add, I'm happy to see that you're sending out additional information about the opt-in testing program. So I'd like to kind of piggyback on that. We're hearing from the community is requesting freedom. With freedom comes responsibility. I know that there's a lot of people out there, students included, that don't know about the opt-in option.
Okay.
So I'd like to urge us to do a better job messaging with regard to that. My knowledge is that we don't have a very large buy-in to that right now.
We do not.
And I think there's a lot of members out there that are concerned with that. And I think that it's great that we're going to provide testing for everybody following February vacation, but moving forward after that, the option there for regular free testing is there.
It is.
I had a student suggest to me that maybe we have SAD do some messaging at the high school level about the opt-in program so that more kids are aware of that, more parents are aware of that. Also, I do think that so we should be doing some messaging with both our staff and our students with regard to the importance of creating an inclusive environment, regardless of anybody's choice, whether they are choosing to wear the mask or choosing not to wear the mask. Everybody, if we're providing this freedom, everybody also has to be assured that their choice is respected regardless of what their choice is. And I feel like there needs to be some really strong just sensitivity training with regard to our students and our faculty on that issue.
And I think it's a great way to bring in the hashtag Grams Belong.
Yeah.
That no matter who, if you choose to or you don't choose to, we all belong here.
And then you also mentioned, looking toward the future and relying on the community with regard to responsibility. I know that people are concerned that if the masks come off, cases could increase. So will you continue case reporting on a weekly basis? And if you are to continue case reporting on a weekly basis, what do we do if cases start going up when the masks come off?
It's a great question. So what I would do is, yes, as long as I have to keep reporting it to the state, and which I have to report every case that we get in of COVID, I have to report to the state. We are no longer going to be do contact tracing. I have to make that very clear. We're not going to be calling you if your student or your child was a close contact to somebody at school who tested positive. We're not doing that. So you won't know if your child was close to somebody at school, okay? I gotta put that out there, make that very clear. If we do see a rise, we would probably bring our safety committee back together. Chairman Stevenson sits on it, myself, the public health nurse, the board of health nurse, the board of health director in Granville, our lead nurse, our supervisor of building and grounds, and we met twice so far this year. We met weekly last year during COVID. But if we see something, we would get back together, we would talk about the issues and problem solve together.
Yeah, and just to make sure we clarify, the contract tracing that Superintendent Wheeler is talking about, the reason that it's being discontinued is that the state, after tabulating all of their data over the test and state procedures that they've been doing across the state, basically determined that there was no transmission happening in schools, which is why they're eliminating the test and state policy. So what we've done is we've decided as a district that we're going to go into that. One of the things that we needed to do, which is actually means that I think we're actually going to be in a better spot with this new system, because now we're going to be doing symptomatic testing, which is before, if somebody came with a symptom, they were just sent home, right? No idea whether they were positive or not, they just got sent home. Now, if they come to the school nurse and they're indicating that they have symptoms, we're going to be taking a test, finding out if they're positive or negative, and then that way we've got more data. But the test and stay, just eliminating that, and I've heard from a couple people in the community, why are we doing all this at the same time? Well, the test and stay was an ineffective process. It was getting eliminated. Now, if we decide to move forward with changing the mask, I mean, there are going to be times where I'm sure our numbers are going to go up a little bit, they're going to go down. Just because something goes up, I don't think we can necessarily just sit there and attribute it to a change in a mask policy. If there's drastic changes, I think whether we do this or not tonight, any massive changes to the infection rates here at the district will have to be looked at and addressed. That's what we're going to need to do. We do it from the safety policy committee, and then we bring it to the school committee. We'll do that. But we've certainly heard from a lot of people on both sides of this equation with respect to what to do. And I think superintendent, from being able to actually procure all of those test kits, puts us in the best position possible for us to go into this potentially on February the 28th. But as she said, and I'm going to encourage and implore you that as parents and anybody that's listening to this, you get those test kits. They don't do any good sitting in the closets. Use them. Test your kids the Sunday back before they come back from school, so that if they are positive, they can stay home. That's fine. Even when we had the winter uptick, when we were in the middle of an Omicron explosion, who knows whether this is because of masks or not because of masks. From my understanding and speaking with Mr. Trammell, the vast majority of the kids didn't come to school and they were positive. They didn't come in. So even if they didn't have masks, we wouldn't necessarily be in a situation where we'd be transmitting from kid to kid. So there's no win situation on this. We're going to have to exit at some point, and I mean, all we can do is make sure that we're the best prepared that we can to do this, and everybody working together is going to give us the best chance of success.
And I think you're spot on when you say everybody needs to work together on this. We've got to be testing our kids on Sunday night so that they don't come in without wearing a mask and spread it. And then, that's exactly what Ms. Petchke was just talking about. We can't have that. We've got to all be in this together. That's the only way it's going to work. It's the only way our schools have stayed open so far.
All right. Anybody have any further questions on this before we move forward? Ryan, are you still there? I want to make sure you're still alive in Florida.
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay, any questions, comments from you before we move forward?
With the new policy that you have, are we accepting the whole thing
Yeah,
as is, or would we revise it in any way? Are we taking it as is?
I think at this point, from what I read, was there anything that you heard that came up that you were concerned about?
I mean, I think the whole vaccination section is kind of like a moot point. You can wear them if you want to, or you don't have, like, I don't understand
I mean,
not understand. You know, it's a moot point, and that vaccination is very a touchy subject for people. I would take it out, but if we're just gonna, they don't have to if they're unvaccinated, it's fine.
yeah, I think honestly, I think the way it's worded, they're just recommending that if you're unvaccinated to wear a mask. If you're unvaccinated, you do not wear a mask. We are not going to be, superintendent, help me out here. We are not going to be checking vaccine cards.
No.
We're not going to be doing anything like that. So
Right, it helps just to make people feel more belong and not feel like people are gonna judge them according to their vaccination status.
Going to be asking those questions.
Great.
All right. So action items.
So am I changing the language?
Yeah, I think, I
Move
guess
to
my,
revise policy EDCMA face coverings as modified effective 2022.
yeah,
As
228.
proposed by Mass.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to waive the 3 readings. Okay.
Yeah.
Move to waive the 3 readings of the new revised policy EDCFA face coverings as modified effective February 28, 2022, recommended.
So
Second. Okay, any questions on this? All right, we're going to take a roll call vote. Pam?
and this is to waive the 3 readings,
Wait.
correct?
Or are we waiving 3 readings or
Yeah.
accepting, we're doing it all at once?
I think we
Waiving and
have to do it
accepting?
2 separately. I think
Two
we have
separate.
to do-
Oh, okay, so
First
we're gonna
waive,
waive the
then
3 readings,
Yes.
yes, waive the 3 readings. Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Rob's a yes, motion passes 700. Okay, so superintendent, now we're going to,
Move to accept revised policy EDCFA face coverings as modified effective February 28, 2022, recommend.
So moved.
Second.
okay, any questions on this policy?
And this is to revise to the updated mask recommendation.
The one that I read tonight, yes. Okay,
Got 3:30.
any questions? Okay, roll call vote, Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Pat?
Yeah.
Erica,
Yes.
Rob's a yes, motion passes 700.
Move to approve the agreement between the Southwick Talent Granville Regional School District and the Southwick Talent Granville Education Association Incorporated for the appointment and compensation of Emma Root as part-time interim assistant principal at Powder Mill School, recommended.
So moved.
Second. Any questions on this policy? All right, do a roll call vote, Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Rob's a yes, motion passes 700.
Move to approve home education proposal HS 2122-69, recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on this home policy or proposal? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote, Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Rob's a yes, motion passes 700.
Move to approve the 21-22 Southwick Regional School fundraiser Cocoa Social, proceeds to benefit 4 local charities, recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the fundraiser? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Rob's a yes, motion passes 700.
Move to approve the revised job description for athletics director, recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any questions on the job description, Jeff?
Yeah, so was this read last, 2 weeks ago?
No,
Well, this was just added.
this was added. We needed to update
Job description.
the job description. When an update for job descriptions happen, it comes to the school committee for approval.
And do we have, like, how much of a difference is, this? Like, do we have
an indication here of what has changed from the previous job description?
Yes, so one of them is under education, work experience, and like a degree in movement science, sports management. We have excellent written and verbal communication skills with strong presentation and mediation skills. Under the performance responsibilities, we updated some of the committees that the person would be responsible to be on. We added the managing of adding working closely with the Southwick Rec Center, the Booster Club, and the ad hoc committee. And we talked, the big change came where we talked about facilities upgrade and to work closely with scheduling necessary maintenance and looking and being able to work and put a plan together in respect to improving our grounds.
Does that answer your question, Tim?
I just had a question about the education. So the sports management degree. I might have to get interested in, sports management might have been changed from, say athletic management, now sports management. Is that considered the same?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of like foreign language and world language.
Right, I just want to make sure that was.
I'm sure if there's something close,
Yeah.
it's probably worth a conversation with the committee that will be dealing with this.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Sure, the experience can outweigh the.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like any job description. You've got what
Sometimes
your
you
ideal.
apply online, if keywords don't match.
No, I don't think we're gonna be
Okay.
dealing with that. All right, any other questions on this?
No.
Okay, do a roll call vote, Pam?
Yeah.
Ryan?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes.
Rob's a yes, motion passes 7-0-0.
Move to approve the ad hoc athletics committee recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any questions on this? This is what we talked about last week. This is the committee that I'd like to put together so that we can actually get the 3 groups that deal with youth sports in town actually together in the same room to try to solve some of these longstanding issues that we've got. It's kind of in relation to looking to get someone coming in to give us some advice on how to improve the grounds and what kind of cost it will be to do that from the athletic side. Doesn't make any sense to do that, looking at either portable lights or baseball fields or whatever, if we're not getting everybody in town that's actually got their hands in the game at the table. I think we've got a real opportunity to try to solve some of these issues. I've already touched base with Park and Rec, and touched base with the school, with the rec center. So we've got green lights from all of them to be able to do something. So if we can get a green light from here, that'll allow us to basically keep it sort of under our purview. We'll make sure that we're following open meeting laws. Amy will be able to help sort of making sure that we're notifying the public in appropriate timeframes, so that way we're above board and make it nice and neat. Any other questions on this? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Pam?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes.
Rob's a yes, motion passes 7-0-0.
Move to approve the overnight trip for Southwick Regional School student athletes to attend the 2022 MIAA wrestling tournament in Fitchburg, Mass. Recommended.
So moved.
Second.
We've got 4. I think I read that right. We got
4, yeah.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
As many as 6.
Oh, what's it be even better? And we get a couple sweets then.
So are we, so does this include both transportation and lodging?
Yes.
I don't know what they settled on.
You may
Left
have more
that
insight.
Discretion to Mr. Trammell and Mr. Sanchagrin in consultation with coaching staff and parents, to understand what the needs were going to be. There's some crazy logistics with whether it makes sense to transport there and back, there only, parents coming back, sign-offs. It's beyond our ability to get down into those weeds. So, yeah, I'm not sure where it stands right now, but we did
authorized
transportation and the.
So if necessary,
Yes.
we can provide both transportation and accommodation.
Yeah.
But without us approving them to be able to go on an overnight, nothing happens. Correct? Okay. So they're looking for us to approve the ability for the wrestling team to stay overnight. Once we give them that green light, then they can deal with the intricacies of what happens and interact with the parents and the children as appropriate.
Yes.
All right, awesome. Any other questions? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
John?
Yeah.
Pat?
Yep.
Erica?
Yes.
Rob's a yes, motion passes 7-0-0. Superintendent Willard, you are up.
Okay, well, I did get an update today, and I'm sure Mr. Presnell will go into a little bit more detail, because I saw in my email, you might have a little bit more information than me. But we did just get an update today that although we were anticipating that Powder Mill would be ready to go on February 28th after vacation, it does not appear that was an aggressive timeline. And
How aggressive.
I knew we should have started a pool.
so we know more. As I said, Mr. Presnell may know more than I do right now, because I saw some emails in there, but I didn't get to them. The other thing is, today we announced our 2 Grinspoon winners. One of them went to school adjustment counselor Shannon Dion up at the regional school, and the other one went to Emma Rood, grade 5 teacher here at Powder Mill School. I'd like to thank Mr. Quinn and the SRS band, who really bring our Grinspoon presentation to life and take it to something that Peter Courier said he has never seen before. So it is with fanfare, it is exciting, and there's tears, and we have the family members come to see our teachers get their awards, and it's a pretty special day here in the district, and a reason to celebrate.
Fantastic. Congratulations to both of them. Well deserved. Okay. Mr. Presnell, we are waiting.
Sure. Just
on the timeline update.
You might
would you like to start with that? Am I going to start with that one, or
we can do whatever you want to do.
I'll start with our excess and deficiency certification. The Department of Revenue, just after the committee's last meeting, certified our E&D balance at $1,307,790. That's akin to free cash that a town would have. As I may have mentioned to the committee, for regional school districts, however, subject to a 5% limit, 5% of the ensuing year's budget. So our E&D balance of the 1.3 million as of 6/30/21 exceeded, it was actually 101.3% of the limit that we're subject to. So there's $16,683 that will need to be returned to the 3 towns proportionately based on their assessment ratios. That will happen either with the last quarterly bill that we issued to the 3 towns, or in their 23 assessment calculation. That was really part of the budget approval process. So good news is we're at the limit. We've maxed out free cash, which actually was a trend. In speaking with our Department of Revenue representative who works on the E&D calculation, that has been a trend statewide. Just spending was depressed during the full COVID school year of 2020 to 21. So regional school districts are carrying larger E&D balances than sometimes typical. The restoration and reconstruction work at Powder Mill is slated to commence on Wednesday of this week. We received the scope of work on Friday, late Friday morning. We needed some time to digest that, review it, make sure that everything was covered and in order. Mr. Wykander spent time actually over the weekend working on that. Had a few follow-up questions with their rep who came back with the right answer. So I reached out to our insurance adjuster prior to signing off on work authorization and got assurances there. So that has been set in motion. They've been claiming all along that they believe it's a 3-week project, barring any interruptions. So we're getting the start on this about a week later than we would have liked you to make that the original target date of the want to be able to turn it back over on the 28th. But we'll stay on top of the contractor and try to see it finish as quickly as possible and as safely as possible.
That's not that bad.
Yeah, if we miss it by a week.
I was thinking 8.
Yeah, no.
If you beat that, then we're good shape.
Yeah, well.
Not the Super Bowl. Come on.
It's not done yet. All right, thank you very much, Mr. President. All right, subcommittees and liaison. Do we have anybody that's got anything to report?
Negotiations had their third meeting with unit A and teachers. Today, so we got into sort of stuff a little bit further. Long way to go still. Still learning. Making progress.
That's good.
And master plan, we met last Thursday evening, still getting through the nuts and bolts and degree. Doing a deeper dive into the kind of way they want to approach the change and the implementation of the master plan. So we'll work survey different consultants. So not much change, but moving. And then I meet Thursday night for the first capital meeting. I don't know, you all know that one.
Awesome. I guess you call this technologies.
There you go.
There you go.
Hang on.
I
Big
know,
update.
you're very good. So I participated with several of the members here in the school with a paper screening of the IT director position. I was pretty impressed. We had, I think there were 22 candidates. We whittled that down, I think, to about 6 or 7. We got pretty good quality. I think if what's left and even something, if we has to go there, we can still more if we need to. But moving forward, I assume you're starting to schedule it, right?
Yes.
That's good. We had finance subcommittee meeting last week. We are at the beginnings of setting up the annual budget. So far, so good. We've got another meeting. Did we figure out when that is?
I was thinking about that this morning. I couldn't remember, so I was gonna ask Amy if she wrote that down.
We were trying to figure out whether we're gonna have it this week or via Zoom.
Yeah, not, probably not this week. I know next week we're presenting some challenge.
Yeah.
Sure, the 29th or 30th.
Yeah, that would work. Maybe last year.
Maybe the 28th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do the 28th. That'll work. And we can do it here without masks.
9 a.m.
Kind of policy.
Yes, we have policy subcommittee tomorrow. Jenny's got like 85 different policies that we want to take a look at.
And update, I do not.
Yeah. Oh, you don't? We can do it all nighter?
No, we can.
Okay.
You go as long as you don't. Yeah. I'm kidding.
You said 28.
Pizza and wings.
20, yeah. 28. Buildings and ground, Ted, anything? Good, other than the flood? All right, ILT. We're good?
Not since I last.
Okay, wellness, sped, technology, we got.
I met with Mrs. Gunn, yeah.
Great.
And we had a great conversation. I learned exactly what she did and what kids are facing in the schools with regards to both sides of the mask mandate, social and emotional cues, a lot of things that were brought up tonight. It's a good conversation. We'll be meeting again.
I also wanted to bring up that the Lower Pioneer Valley meeting, or LPVAC is Wednesday.
You got one Wednesday too, so.
Yeah.
Ask about the window.
Well,
I
that's,
will certainly ask about
I
that.
was gonna say, can you really?
Oh,
touch on
yes,
this one?
yes.
If I
hang
could
on,
just
Jen may have an
interject.
update.
I have been advocating, I received numerous emails from parents about the bus windows and Angela's like,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yes.
And I have been advocating, I have an LPVAC meeting tomorrow morning. I've asked them to put it on our agenda. Okay. So as superintendents, we can talk about it there as well.
Perfect.
But I have been advocating to put the windows up that our kids are on the bus longer than other kids in other communities. And that we need to use some common sense.
And that there's a huge,
Yeah,
there's a
this-
huge difference in temperature between
Yeah, this
Southwick
comment-
and
this comment-
Granville and.
Whoever this-
Angela and I have spoken quite a few.
So much snow up there still.
Yeah,
Like,
no, no,
it's not
it's-
like here.
It's a legit
At all.
10-degree difference.
Yeah.
Tell them, please don't
I'm
make
right
us
here in
fire
the
school.
mountain, it's my driveway. Can I threaten?
No.
I've been advocating,
Yeah,
and
that's-
actually I gotta thank you from the wrestling mom, because the windows were up on a wrestling.
No, I mean, we talked about this, the kids are freezing coming back from basketball games, they're
Yeah.
freezing in the north, I mean, and,
2 hours.
yeah.
10 degrees.
And if whoever decided that 10 degrees is freezing needs to go back to school.
I'm gonna advocate for
Can I just say
32
one thing
tomorrow.
too? I know I'm not supposed to talk.
No, I can actually acknowledge you, so yes, what would you like to say?
So my 5-year-old, as soon as I put him on the bus this morning, took his mittens off and waved to me as all the windows are still down.
Frigid, yeah.
It was very cool. Like, I don't expect the bus driver to try to monitor that. Her job is to get them there safely, not worry about whether the kids have, and you've got little kids that you're dealing with.
Yep.
That are, what am I supposed to do? Chase the bus down the street? Wait.
No, that,
Not only
we-
that, but how are you gonna get all those fingers back in those, those
we have,
holes?
we
That
have,
little stinker, yeah.
this is good timing, we have 3 meetings with LPVAC tomorrow, so I'm pretty sure by the time my meeting happens at 6, they're gonna be dead sick of South.
I just don't, I talked to Mr. Crow today. He didn't like me at all. But I just don't understand where they got the number 10. Why not 15? Why not where's 10?
Why not 32?
Yeah.
Why not we
Yeah.
32?
Yeah.
How about 65?
Yeah.
We'll let the students go outside if it's less than 20 degrees.
20 might even be fair. 20 might even be fair. Can we compromise? I don't know.
I don't wanna be on a bus.
All right. We're digressing.
Anyways,
Okay.
thank you for everybody for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for
So-
trying to.
That's a modified public comment for the second section.
Oh, we have a.
Yes,
Okay.
you can. Your name and your address, and you got
Let's say, John,
3
you're
minutes.
right. I just wanted to say, I was really happy to hear about those changes in the curriculum. I feel like it makes us much more competitive to offer 2 AP English classes and to not have to take bio, honors bio, and then take bio. It's just such a positive thing. And I hope that can maybe keep kids that might look at other schools or even like other districts, so we don't have to shell money out to send kids to the district. It's really important. I think we'll be more competitive with other schools in the area. Like, we'll get more kids in AP. Get more kids to stay. And I've always, my only complaint about my daughter's high school education is her English. I feel like she should have been challenged a little more in the English department. And if she could have had the option to take 2 AP English classes, I think it really would have put her, I think she'll be fine. I think she'll get into a good college. I'm not worried about that, but I'm worried about when she gets there, is she gonna struggle to write a paper?
You're lucky she's not here.
No, she knows, like, yeah, I know. But yes, I feel like she's a very strong math and science student. She'll be fine. And she's a very strong student. I think she's in the top couple in the class. She's wonderful. But I do worry, is she going to be prepared on an English level? Because
I can tell you she's gonna be
not
prepared.
her strength, it's not her strongest suit. Don't tell her I said that, but no, I think every kid in general could benefit from more English education.
All right, say that one more time. Ann.
No, I do.
All right,
really feel it's
anybody
really
got
positive.
anything?
It's gonna open up what the kids can take. They can take so many more classes, because I think right now the kids are limited. If you have to take chemistry, honors chemistry instead of take AP chemistry, you can't take another class. So you're gonna just increase the variety of classes you take. It's definitely a positive, I just want to say.
Thank you,
Happy to see
Celeste.
those changes.
All right, old business. Anybody got anything for old business? New business. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Pat. I'm out of order, Pat, help me out here. John,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Rob. Motion passes 7-0-0. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
You know what, can I just